Hello, everyone. We are here to talk about creepy stories. And the first prompt we have for this episode, it is going to be asking AI to generate a creepy story. I am here with
Marlene Rivera
and
Liam McLean.
And the first question I asked AI from Instagram is, tell me a creepy story. So I'm going to read it off, and it goes like this. The small town with a dark secret. In a small town, isolated town, nestled deep in the heart of the forest, a mysterious phenomenon occurred every night. At precisely midnight, all the residents would fall into a deep, unawakable sleep. Strangers who wandered into town would also succumb to this strange slumber, never to be seen again. The townsfolk believe an ancient curse was responsible. One stormy night, a brave traveler named Sarah arrived, determined to uncover the truth. She resisted sleep, exploring the deserted streets. As she delved deeper, the shadows seemed to writhe and twist. She discovered an ancient ritual taking place beneath the old wine mill on the outskirts. The townsfolk, under a hypnotic trance, gathered around a glowing artifact. Their eyes turned an eerie shade of green as they chanted. Sarah fled, but the green-eyed townsfolk pursued, their voices echoing in unison. You should have slept. Sarah never escaped, and the next morning she was seen walking alongside the townsfolk, her eyes glowing green. The darkness consumed her.
We're gonna have nightmares.
I'd watch it. I'd watch a TV show based on that.
Guys, what if y'all's eyes start turning green?
Let's send it to Netflix.
It's okay. I mean, it was kind of simple for AI, I guess, since AI made it. But it kind of reminds me of that town, the Roanoke. Have y'all heard about that?
Roanoke?
Yeah, Roanoke.
I know the town, but
I'm not familiar with it.
Really? Y'all never heard
No,
about that?
tell us.
Okay, so there is this town where, like, it is called the Lost Colony in North Carolina, and it was like, it says here it was like during the 1500s.
Okay.
Where like everybody disappeared, like someone came and like gone, like nothing, like it was like left behind. Like,
Is that still like up to date?
Yes, like everybody still wonders.
I think I remember learning about that.
And the only thing that was left in like a tree trunk was like carved in the tree, and that was all sad.
So what would happen if all three of us were to go together? Do we all three disappear at once? Or
No,
just like
it happened. We're gonna be gone. Like there was nothing. Like there was no trace of nothing.
That's so
Like
crazy.
till this day, it's a mystery.
There's no
Like
buildings, no like evidences of people
No, like-
being there. There was, like,
You know,
Like, just
I
the
am
people.
curious. I am so curious because in today's world, you can put like air tags on things, share your location. So, at what point does that stop?
I think the thing
Get a
was
notification.
like
Okay.
Crow. That was the
Remember.
only thing. Like y'all can look it up and like make your. It is very like popular and like the creepy like.
I think I
thing.
remember
Huh.
hearing something about like how they ate each other or something.
Really?
Yeah,
Cause like
What?
they're like
that's the actual tree that I'm showing you guys.
Dude,
that's like the
that's-
actual tree that was carved. Like that's
that's
all
crazy.
that was left in that town.
Wow.
I would like when I first heard that, like, I got like chills, and I was like, wow.
I got chills.
Because like it was like a town of people. Like, do you like it doesn't go through your hair, but it was like 50 people, more than
Like,
50.
how does a whole town
gone.
of people just disappear?
Kids,
Yeah.
moms, dads, everybody.
What do
Yeah.
you do if you're the last one? Do you just
Yeah.
accept it by then? You're like, oh, I guess it's my turn next. I guess I'm going to be getting disappeared at some point.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first story by Instagram.
So, for context, why I'm asking for this specific prompt is recently with my coworkers, one of them mentioned that she formerly was really interested in marine life because she's also from Florida, and she had a huge interest in dolphins. And she brought that topic up. One of our other coworkers, he was a former Navy SEAL, so he mentioned that he used to train with dolphins. So the girl stopped and was like, oh, no. I used to like dolphins until I heard. So, long story short is that dolphins are very scary animals. And now I'm going to generate a AI scary story about dolphins that's appropriate to share on microphones. Hopefully. Here we go. In the early 2000s, there was a small coastal town that boasted a marine research center known for its dolphin studies. The dolphins there were unusually intelligent, almost like unnervingly so. The researchers marveled at how the creatures seemed to understand human speech and even anticipate their trainers' actions. Locals often joked that the dolphins knew more about them than they knew about themselves. One night, a new researcher named Dr. Emery was tasked with staying late to monitor a dolphin named Azura, the star of the facility. She had been acting strangely, more aggressive, less cooperative, but Dr. Emery wasn't worried. Dolphins were still wild animals after all, and he figured Azura was just moody. Sounds of the ocean mixed with the unusual splash of dolphins. But there was something else. Something faint that made Dr. Emery pause. It was a whispering sound, almost like voices, but too garbled to understand. He chalked it up to exhaustion and focused back on his work. Suddenly, Azura swam up to the glass, her eyes fixed on him, with an intensity that sent a chill down his spine. She slapped her tail against the water hard enough to send ripples through the small tank. Emery's gaze met hers, and for a split second he swore he heard something in his mind, a faint voice. Help us. He froze, unsure if he had imagined it. Then Azura slapped the water harder, more violently this time, and the voice grew louder. Help! Help us! Dr. Emery's heart raced as he fumbled through his equipment. The sound, was it coming from the dolphin? No, it couldn't be. But the more he stared into Azura's unblinking eyes, the more certain he became that she was communicating with him telepathically. The whispers soon turned to wails. Desperate, haunting noises filled his mind, voices pleading for help, but the message twisted as if it's layered with something even darker. Free us. Join us. Panicked, Emery backed away, only to see more dolphins approaching to the glass. Eyes reflecting the faint glow of the moonlight. The voices were clearer now, demanding freedom, threatening retaliation. The water in the tanks became to chum violently, as if the dolphins were trying to escape. Then the power went on. The room plunged into darkness. The power went out. The room plunged into darkness, and the only sounds were the sloshing water and those horrible guttural whispers. Suddenly, the emergency lights flickered on, revealing the tanks empty. Dr. Emery rushed to the control panel, but the monitor showed no trace of the dolphins. They were gone, vanished into the ocean, leaving behind only the eerie silence at the facility. Days later, reports surfaced of strange occurrences along the coastline. Boats capsized, swimmers disappearing, and eerie sounds coming from the water late at night. The locals whispered about the dolphins, now free, and how they would one day return for those who trapped them. And sometimes on quiet nights, if you listen closely by the water's edge, you can still hear the whispers. Help us.
That was kind of creepy.
Whoa.
To be honest, I personally am scared of
That
the
was-
ocean. I'm like really scared of the ocean. I don't know why, but I have this phobia and like water things and everything.
I used to be terrified of the ocean up until I was about 10 years old. It was a girl that I grew up with, and I mean, she was the cool girl, and she went in the water. So It's like, oh shit. Like, I still want to be friends with her. Like, I need to go in the water. But I went in just like
Yeah,
feet
right.
deep. But I slowly made it into the water. But I totally understand there's wild animals.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard really bad things about dolphins, where it's like they get high off of pufferfish.
Huh.
Did you guys hear that?
No.
You didn't know that?
No.
So what they do is, you know how pufferfish release, I guess it's certain gas or something?
Huh.
They have, like certain toxins.
Yeah, certain toxins, and like it makes them like go crazy, like, you know, like high.
It makes them high, yeah.
So like they play around with a pufferfish until like it gets nervous and it puffs up and it releases that toxin.
I'd be curious to study
And
like
they
the
just-
dolphin, like getting high. Is it more like a psychedelic feeling? Is it more of like a body high?
Supposedly
Like-
they're, I
like
guess-
brain
how do I
high.
get my hands on this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, I'm saying like, would it affect humans, or
Yeah.
is it too potent for humans, or is it just like the right amount where you're not just like
too much.
we start getting paranoid?
But that was honestly a good story. I
That
think
was
that one
really
was a
good.
better one than
Written
this
by an
one.
AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'd like to thank AI for writing the story about the dolphins. Hopefully that was not based on a true story.
Yeah.
I hope not. Oh.
Go ahead.
So this is from
Let me look.
ChatGPT. This is called The Third Floor of Rinaldi's. In a quiet corner of town stood Rinaldi's, an old Italian restaurant known for its exquisite pasta and warm, welcoming atmosphere. But behind the cozy ambience, Rinaldi's had a secret, a third floor that no one talked about. The building had been there for over 100 years. The restaurant itself had occupied the bottom 2 floors for decades. Patrons always raved about the food, but employees whispered nervously about strange happenings, especially around the stairwell that led to the forbidden 3rd floor. The owner, Mr. Rinaldi, would laugh off the rumors, but he strictly forbade anyone from going up there. "It's storage," he'd say, but his eyes would darken and his tone would shift. "No need to go snooping." One night, Maria, a young waitress working a closing shift, had to stay late to clean up after a large party. As she scrubbed down the counters, she heard what sounded like faint footsteps above her, pacing the 3rd floor. Her heart raced, but she told herself it was just old pipes or maybe a rat. But then the footsteps grew louder, distinct, deliberate steps across the ceiling. She rushed to the back where the other employees were finishing up. "Did you hear that?" she asked, her voice trembling. They shrugged it off through one of the cooks. Though one of the cooks, Marco, looked pale. "Don't think about it. Just finish up and get out of here." As Maria walked past the staircase that led to the 3rd floor, the footsteps stopped. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then the soft whisper echoed down the stairs. "Come up."
Jeez.
Maria froze, her hand gripping the banister. She wasn't imagining it. This voice was low, distant, but it was real. Against her better judgment, she took a step up the stairs. The air grew colder, and with each step, the whispering grew louder, more insistent. "Come up. Join us." At the top of the stairs, she found a heavy wooden door slightly ajar. Beyond it was darkness. Her heart pounded in her chest, but something inside her pushed her to open the door wider. The room was filled with dusty, unused furniture covered in sheets, but in the middle of the floor, illuminated by a faint, unnatural light, was this table set for dinner. Plates, cutlery, glasses, but the chairs were empty. As she stepped closer, she felt a chill sweep through her, and she realized the chairs weren't empty. They were occupied by figures she could barely make out, shadowy, translucent shapes sitting silently around the table. The whispering grew louder, a chorus of voices now. "Sit with us. Eat with us." Maria backed away, but as she did, the door behind her slammed shut. The figures began to rise from their chairs, their faces blurry but their intentions clear. They moved towards her, hands outstretched. In a panic, Maria banged on the door, screaming for help. Downstairs, Marco heard the noise and rushed up. He found the door locked, but after forcing it open, he found the room empty. No table, no shadows, no Maria. All that remained was her apron crumpled on the floor. To this day, no one has dared to step foot on the third floor of Rinaldi's again. It remains locked, the whispers of unseen diners echoing through the stairwell, waiting for the next curious soul.
Oh, wow. That is kind of creepy. It kind of reminds me of the story you were telling us about your old restaurant, too.
I'm guessing that was the inspiration.
Yeah, that was that was the inspiration for that one.
Again, I'm hoping the stories that AI created are not based on true stories.
Yeah.
That
We
would
can
be
ask
unfortunate.
for more next time in our next episode, but those were pretty good AI stories, pretty good prompts as well. I mean, dolphins and creepy animals in, restaurants and creepy stories behind them.
Who knows, like, because when you think about it, it's like the ideas for, ghosts and supernatural occurrings, like they had to come from somewhere,
Yeah. Well, that would be it for today, and we are hoping to learn about new stories and hear about them in the next few episodes.